Hello and welcome to episode 444 of the Steel Cage Podcast. My name is Derek Bontia, occasionally known as a healthy person. Tonight I am joined by not one, but two of my best friends in the whole world. To my left, it's the Neo X.
Greetings, salutations, everybody. Yeah, I sometimes feel like a healthy person because I'm just coming off of it. No more open mouth kissing, Derek. Sorry.
I shook a lot of hands this past weekend. I was around a lot of people in a stadium without masks. I went to a water park with small children at it. So I deserve everything I get. Also joining us from the Pacific Northwest, who probably might understand getting colds a little bit more than us here in Phoenix with our 150-degree weather, it's our Uncle Beek.
Hello. My immunities are strong. I'm feeling healthy, feeling grand. I'll carry the podcast. I'll put it on my back this week and labor us through this one, guys.
Please, like Devin Booker is going to have to without Chris Paul on the Phoenix Suns.
I don't know what that means.
I know, that's a nerd.
you guys all let your immune system, well, we all let our immune systems be weakened by staying indoors for so long. So I'm not shocked you go outdoors, you catch something. Makes me second guess going outdoors.
See, that's the bigger thing. I don't question the thing. I want to do the staying indoors and wearing masks more often now because of this. See, this is what happens. You go out, you tongue kiss 3 people,
spit in strangers' mouths.
Anyway, Josh, do we have any emails this week?
Yeah, no. We got a couple.
No, that's not. Oh, okay. First off, greetings.
I like how. Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I like how he messaged in our chat about wrestling, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna come on.
No. No. And I understand it. I think we all did. You have a young child on the way soon. We both have children. I kind of get how, especially when you're a new dad, that's takes precedent over everything. But
I think when you're first time dad,
I think it's also really easy to ignore WWE right now, to be honest. I think that there's nothing that you feel like when you watch it, there's that FOMO, right? That's one thing about pro wrestling. Like when you ignore a program, if you're a wrestling fan and you just catch highlights or clips, you're kind of like, oh, what's going on here? What's this shit about? You know, like, especially when you're unfamiliar with the storylines or factions or champions or whatever for a promotion, right? I can't imagine being an outsider looking in on Raw after not having watched it for a year or two and being like, oh, this seems so interesting to me. Like, no, not really. I mean,
absolutely not.
The way you're talking about it actually makes me wish like I would watch wrestling less so I could actually find some more appeal occasionally. Like, what's going on instead of this is going on?
Yeah.
Still.
Well, it's been on the dirt sheets lately that even people behind the scenes are saying like there's going to be new changes, happening in the WWE. But I don't know. I think it's fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice,
come out of the
shame
ring
on you.
All the McMahons together. Hey guys, we're
that
listening to you this time.
That part,
and then they never listen to us, Derek.
I mean, we have a very funny thing we've talked about in the past, obviously, but let's be honest. There's that moment that happened with the Triple H coming out and making fun of us and talking about how
fucking Mark.
We were gonna go with our friend Mark. And we were going to stop watching WWE. That was on June 21st, 2014. And at that time, the WWE was averaging 4.43 million viewers per episode of Raw. They are currently averaging 1.64 million viewers. They have lost over 50% of their viewership since that moment.
Wow.
That's
a good stat, dude.
It's a very metaphorical thing, right? Because it's really like no one was really bothered by that. There wasn't this big outcry against WWE for Triple H doing that. It was the classic, boss man shtick, right? He was pulling one right out of the Vince McMahon hat. The old, like one of my favorite ones that I could never find a clip of, but I know he said it, where he said he was like, the fans are like kids or they're like children. If you let them choose what they want to eat, they'll just eat candy all the time.
Candy.
And so
it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. This fucking guy, what
right.
the hell?
I mean, it's true.
Great executive move, Trips.
But it's one of those things that, like, Triple H is kind of heralded as being one of the things that's kept WWE, relevant and on course to a degree. I feel like,
well, he can do both. He can simultaneously help steer the ship in the right direction, but also go on TV and try to get himself over on the marks.
Yeah,
insulting us.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Have a really weird segment with Poppy about her releasing her album on an episode of NXT. That was
him popping at the hug between. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, a big hug. That's crazy."
I was like, "Oh, come on."
So, question
yes,
about viewership. So now that WWE is kind of in the toilet, do you think Smarky Mark Fedora's on that AEW should change Dynamite to Monday and just totally knock off the competition?
No,
I don't think that's a smart.
I don't think the move for AEW isn't going head to head with.
Yeah.
It's being an alternative, but not immediate. I wouldn't say attack the throat of Raw. That's
right. Well, and because it made me think of, like, remember when Cody broke the throne of Raw with
oh yeah,
that wasn't supposed to be aimed at Triple H at all anyway.
With that hammer and everything. Oh, what a weird thing.
But it was something that I was thinking of, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, it wouldn't be worth it. Raw is so cemented in Monday nights, but I think everything overall is down in viewership, right? Because of some sort of basketball event that's happening.
Yeah.
It is what they need to do if they want to beat the WWE. Like, if their plan is to just beat these guys, then eventually, yes, they're going to have to go on Monday, in my opinion. But I think they just need to steer the course for now. And then, if they get good enough or profitable enough to do that, go for it.
You know what's odd about it? I think about other shows. I think about other, like, cable programs or television shows. I don't think many things that need to go battle with another show.
Yeah.
Show, like, the supremacy.
We can both exist. Like, it can happen.
Like House Hunters going up against, like, something on HGTV or something. Like, I don't know. I mean, these are unnecessary battles, and I feel
Property Brothers.
Yeah,
they split the Property Brothers and put them on 2 different networks.
I think that it's just not necessary. I do think that they need to pick a night and stick to it. I think that fluctuating when your show is on is a bad move.
Well,
this is the DVR era. I don't feel the need for you to stay away from battling up against, like, an NBA game.
They used to just not have Raw. Remember when there was a dog show, they're like, well, fuck it, no Raw.
Yeah, you're right.
If Raw moved to Tuesday, I'd be pretty jazzed.
That's valid. And I mean, that's probably what they would do.
Fucking dog shit. How heated were you about dogs back in the day? Just because they're like, I love dogs, but they show up, you're like, these fucking dogs.
Oh my God. Because it was such, like, I don't think people understand when I was 14, 15 years old, how hard it was for me to stay up until 10 o'clock, which is when Raw started for us here in Arizona during daylight savings time, right? So we had to wait until 10 o'clock for it to start. And it was a nightmare, right? So, like,
and then you had to stay up to midnight to actually enjoy the whole show.
Yes. And not only that, but can you imagine how angry I was when it's a goddamn dog show? Oh my God.
You stay up because it's not like kids are. Raw is always on Monday. I'm not checking in to see it's preempted for a dog show.
I don't know when that dog show happens. I have no clue what's going on. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the big dog, so talking about
nice segue.
SmackDown on Fridays. What do you think of, like, AEW doing the Friday night Rampage going up? Because that's technically going up against Raw or WWE in a sense.
Well,
I think Dynamite would be good. Or what's that other show? The Elevation show?
Yeah.
Well, Elevation is on Monday. No, Elevation's on Monday. Dark is on Tuesday. But again, those are on YouTube. So you can literally catch those anytime.
But like either one of those shows could easily be moved, since it already has an established following, could easily be moved to a television. Like when NXT got moved off the internet to TV, people like jazz. So I could see people being psyched for that move.
But Friday specifically, if they're doing like AEW Friday Rampage, like that's kind of like the head-to-head that's gonna happen.
Sure. But I was going to say, like, that doesn't necessarily have, like, say you said Dark's on Tuesday. Doesn't necessarily have to be on Tuesday anymore. They could have it on Friday. Dark is on Friday. That could be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Derek, are you frozen or just thinking? So you're
I'm thinking about drinking this cold and flu medicine that I got right here, the way that you do 100 milligrams of THC in the middle of the show. You know?
oh man,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
It's happening.
That's
I'm
Yeah,
almost done. Oh, sorry.
I was taken aback that you have to take 30 milligrams. I'm like, is that the right dosage?
Yeah,
Yes,
that can't be right. That can't be right.
That's the right dosage.
I need some vodka.
Put that purple in the cup.
All right. So, but no, I mean, I don't know. I think here's one thing.
Again, do they have to go head to head?
I think AEW's fan base is well defined. I think that the one thing that we discussed on the chair shot last night when I was on their show was that the one thing that AEW fans and everybody in AEW seems to share is like this bitterness and hatred towards WWE, right? Whereas, and I'm talking about the hardcore AEW fans that seem to be very dedicated to this cause, dedicated to a fault, you know, where they kind of defend everything they do, even when it's openly questionable, like some of the things Cody has done. No one's saying anything really bad about Cody. They're just saying like it's dumb decisions that they've made in the booking of this feud and this character and how unlikable he just is, despite the fact that they keep trying to book him as like their main hero guy.
Yeah, everyone in the world is like, you are a try-hard, bro. What is going on over here?
It's a real self-awareness issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even believe it. I feel like he's playing us when people say stuff like, hey, did you know you were dressed like the Homelander? And he was like, no, this was just some American gear. And it's like, no. You had to have known, bro. Don't tell me you didn't know. You were cosplaying.
I like the people who are like, he's dressed like Sting. I'm like, no, he's not. Why would he dress like Sting?
He's dressed like a surfer Sting, beach bash Sting.
Yeah. It's like, no.
Sting never surfed.
He did not, as far as I know.
That we share on this show quite often. But yeah, I don't know. I think that AEW puts on a great show. I think they have plenty of good things going on. I just think, you know, AEW gets some criticism at times for their lack of fulfilling promises, whereas WWE gets criticism, it seems like, for everything, because we've had longer to develop bad feelings towards WWE. They've let go of so many of our favorite people. They've done so many terrible things that we can't forget.
And when they do something awesome, we're always like, well, finally.
Yeah, that's the bigger thing.
You did something cool. Good.
Oh, do this
finally. Can you do this consistently?
Right. You know, I mean, WWE.
It's almost like you would wish they wouldn't. Like, please don't show us these little glimpses of brilliance because we can't take it anymore.
Well, that's okay. So, like, it's kind of wild because NXT has really stood out now as my favorite show.
Oh, it's great right now. This most recent episode was top to bottom entertaining.
It was just great, right? And I mean, we have the return of Samoa Joe.
Debuts of Trey Baxter, aka Blake Christian. That was pretty rad.
In an amazing cruiserweight match, which I love, and I kind of feel like the 205 Live guys are towing the line over there, but they have some great guys in Alex Zane and Blake Christensen and some of those guys that are over there that I don't think need to be over there. Bring them over to NXT. But NXT, and that's the thing about NXT. NXT kind of robs WWE, Raw, and SmackDown of the special, right? There's this thing about AEW that they have. They have this wonderful combination of legends, current main event guys, top guys within professional wrestling, rookies, like young guys that are up and coming that we're excited to see, we haven't seen much of, and even nobodies that we've never heard of that come out and just impress the hell out of us when we see them for the first time.
Yep.
All of that, as far as WWE as a company goes, happens on NXT. That's where that happens. Even the combination of legends, because of the fact that they bring in guys like Ted DiBiase to be a part of this amazing LA Knight and Cameron Grimes feud that I never saw elevating to this level of entertainment. You know, like they really did the Aleister Black Undertaker storyline that I always wanted to do with Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase, and I'm not mad about it.
And they successfully turned Cameron babyface through the entire thing. Right. Like he was kind of an obnoxious money grubbing heel that people got into the money gimmick and perfectly turned him babyface.
You're absolutely right. To the point we didn't even know it was happening, right?
Yep.
When you look back on it in retrospect, because I caught up on a few episodes before In Your House, after I watched In Your House, and like obviously I thought going in that this was going to be just a heel versus heel thing, you know, and whoever was going to be the heel was going to get Ted DiBiase's services. Obviously, none of that happened, right? Because LA Knight comes out on top, and we end up with Cameron Grimes turning babyface, and now seemingly coming to the $1 Million Man's aid and rescue when Knight turned on him. LA Knight, which I still hate that name, but I get it. He's
Dummy, yeah.
3 letters. Dummy, yeah, let me talk to you. I liked his little speech where he like was going to go into his normal bit, and then he brought it down and was like, actually, Ted, let me talk to you. And he was,
I liked how he had a trouble getting his sunglasses in his pocket. For
yes,
a great deal of time. He's like,
they
underestimate
how fucking cool Orange Cassidy is, but it's not easy. It is not, let alone to pull out 2 pairs of sunglasses.
I also like his he wears these big bold colors, different color jackets, like red, yellow, green, like it's like a Power Ranger, this guy.
Yes, yeah, he's an obnoxious. I like how him and Cameron Grimes are both like the worst kind of people with money, right? Like they're both the kind of people that you wish.
Well, let's not forget Cameron Grimes. He was just savvy on the stonks. When the stonks were hot,
right? He sold high on the stonks. They went to the moon. And
to the moon.
To the moon. An amazing character. I love what they've done with him. I had no idea where they were eventually going to go with Cameron Grimes. I hated it at first, and to be honest, I thought it was
they flipped it on you, buddy.
I fucking hated the hat. I'm like, this hat is fucking.
I hated the
hat, dude.
You're right.
Doing?
It was like
is now
It was
like
a steampunk thing that he was doing at first.
I always thought it was like this like gross Scrooge McDuck type of hat. You know, like that's how I was, you know, conceptualizing it in my mind. Like, okay,
there you go.
He's got that going on.
You know what? Now that I think of it that way, I'm probably going to enjoy it more. But no, just other good things going on with NXT. I mean, I loved the concept of MSK and Bronson putting up their titles, all the titles against the Legado del Fantasma. That was dope, and it was an incredible match. Like again, that's another thing about NXT is like NXT has these young guys, but then they still have, you know, Finn Balor, the Fandango, and, you know, Tyler Breeze. They still have a lot of guys that are really at a high level right now in their career down in NXT. You know, they have a nice combination of stuff. I mean, Johnny Gargano at this point has even become like a full-on veteran in WWE, right? I mean,
oh, dude,
the Gargano syndrome.
His bit with what's his name? Austin Theory, when he came in and Austin Theory was still doing the Diesel thing. He was like, no, man, that was a one-time thing.
Yeah.
One-time thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty classic.
It's comedy Gargano, and I'm kind of for it.
Yeah.
I hate how much it's gotten Austin Theory over. Austin Theory is one of those guys that had weird allegations against him, and I never wanted to like him, and I didn't like him. So I was hoping he kind of would fade away and stuff before he had a chance to do this to me, which he really has, being this dopey sidekick to Johnny Gargano, has just been perfect for him, especially being like the guy that looks like he would be the superhero.
Classic himbo. Classic himbo.
Right. But I mean, hey, it's worked, and it's really helped to get him some character in his career. I mean, just being the good wrestler isn't good enough in WWE, and I think that's the purpose of NXT now, right? Is to kind of find that for guys. I think all the guys we've kind of talked about, Cameron Grimes, Legado del Fantasma, the way they repackaged them, MSK.
Dude, the whole look of that group is that's ready to be on Raw or on SmackDown. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, but let's be real.
Down
they're
to the music.
205, dude.
They announced that they're having a draft coming up. So I was going to ask you guys, do you think NXT is a part of that draft? Because I think that's the most important factor of having a draft at this point.
Dude, honestly, if they want to, as you said, Neo, I think it was, they are planning some big changes. If they're doing the draft, if they don't try to pepper in some NXT talent in there, they're stupid, because there are so many people that are ready to even be on NXT. Like, it's time to get a lot of those people out and onto Raw and onto SmackDown and bring a good level of people up. Like, they have so many people. Like, they fired a lot of people, but they still have so many people. It's ridiculous.
They have the biggest roster across the wrestling gambit, like across the wrestling landscape. WWE still has the biggest roster.
You probably have a relative that's in the WWE because they have so many people.
Actually, I mean,
they're probably
that's true. It's true, right? But when you actually look at their roster, they have a lot fewer people than you think.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying because you're including UK and NXT in there and Raw and SmackDown. But
Evolve and 205.
Plus the people who are still in the Performance Center who aren't necessarily on TV yet. Like,
that's a good point.
There's people that are, I'm sure they're ready to pull the trigger and put on TV, but they just have limited TV time.
And that's the thing with limited TV time. Doesn't it feel like we're always watching WWE with the blinders on because we see the same people and we see the same matches constantly over and over and over?
That's why NXT is so refreshing, dude.
That's exactly
random people just show up. Like when I saw Trey Baxter and Blake Christian, I'm like, what? That's rad. And he's going against Kushida.
Yeah.
Cool. That is super awesome. And it was a great match.
What a treat. That's like some shit you show up at an indie show and see. And that's really what, NXT has become. I've gone over the roster from the Bola where you and I met, Beek, in 2014. I've gone over that roster and how incredible it is with the amount of guys that have been in WWE. I think the only guy that hasn't worked in WWE is Kenny Omega and Michael Elgin. I think those are the only two from the entire group of 24 people that haven't worked for WWE. I was trying to think of guys. I was like, wait, Chris Sabin? Yeah, I was like, yeah, Chris Sabin was there for a minute.
He was there.
I'm like, ACH was there. So, but then you go down the list of the guys that are still there, and it's, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Biff Busick. The list goes on, and you can just tell with how often we saw Regal there sticking his nose out of that curtain in the back that they just wanted that. They were like, we want this punk rock indie show vibe as somehow our
every week.
WWE,
Well, and I like to add the fact that NXT also knows how to do reintegrations the right way. Like when Io Shirai showed up.
Sure, that was a great angle.
Yeah, like, oh, she's back. Like, thank you.
Ass.
And now you're gonna pair her with Zoe Starks. Yeah, I'm all for it. Like, let's just keep that rolling because they introduced the tag team, the women's tag team division in NXT. NXT, the women's division, like bar none, even over AEW, maybe even over Impact, ROH, whatever. They still have the best women's division across the wrestling landscape. Not accounting for like Joshi wrestling, obviously. Sure. But the fact that they have like titles to actually go for it, I mean, bring it on. Like there's so much they can do there.
I appreciate the fact that they make their tag teams, right? Like the women so far, we've had.
It was a little rocky. It was a little rocky in the start.
It was kind of one of those things that it felt like they were just throwing women together to create tag teams, and they didn't really have enough women on their roster.
And the way the belt traded hands like immediately.
Yeah, right.
Oh, this title, it's hard to have legitimacy when this is happening right away.
But they've stuck with a lot of the women being teams, and honestly, that's kind of going back to AEW. That's one thing that I have really dug about AEW, despite the fact that they get a lot of criticism on it, is I like the factions. I like people having friends. It's what real life is like. When we go places, we don't travel by ourselves, and even when we do, we make friends at work. We go to and we travel together and we stay.
The trope they've avoided with the women too is none of them are like frenemies. They're not like they're not legit. Like they hate each other,
like
but they're
Shayna
hanging out.
And Nia.
Like that's always the trope on Raw or SmackDown for the most part. It's one of them doesn't like the other one, so
because it's the classic thing that women can't actually be friends, and it's some male writer writing that in, and not. I hate the lack of dedication to tag.
This will get their periods in sync. Let's put them together in a tag team.
Oh my god.
They always need to make sure that two guys that are black are in a tag team together. Yet we never got Darren Young and John Cena as a tag team, and they're almost identical human beings. And I don't understand how that never happened. Like,
I want to go back to what you said about Regal being at PWG all the time. That actually almost, for us who actually witnessed that live, emphasizes what he was saying on the promo last night about how crucial and how much NXT was his baby in the beginning and being a part of actually crafting it. That's not storyline. That's not just gimmick. That's legitimately he really did have a hand in that.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, it's character driven, but again, with wrestling, the best character driven things are based on reality. They're yourself turned up to 11. I think that is what William Regal is. I got drunk and I was getting a pitcher of beer filled up, and I saw him back there because when you're standing at the bar at the Legion, you could actually see people behind the curtain. I've been yelled at by Trent before for like trying to talk to him and stuff. And when I talked to William Regal, he just kind of blew a kiss at me and then went back to watching outside of the curtain. And it was like a surreal moment in my goddamn life. But so many things that have happened at PWGR, you know?
So you're bugging the king, William Regal, you son of a bitch.
So fucking, yeah. Stop acknowledging my presence.
I want to see your best. I want to see your best William Regal kiss blowing impression.
It was a little bit of this with a little bit of
that. Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was one of those.
I felt it.
Yeah, good.
I felt it.
Good. I want a Zoom call. But yeah, no, I mean, NXT, I think, continued to kill it. The only thing I wasn't and haven't been really a fan of in the main event was Killer Kross. I want to like Kross. I laughed when Adam Cole basically said all the negative things out loud that I actually feel inside about Kross without
he was shooting in the square, brother.
Not square. But yeah, no, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on Kross? I don't want to. You showed me a video before we got on air, and it made me he had more personality in that one match than I've seen out of him in this entire thing because of this kind of generic tough guy character that he's in. But it really pisses me off to see him with the elite, level of NXT personnel just fucking running through them. Like,
yeah, ragdoll these boys. I posted a video of this guy who's been instant messaging me named Will the Hulk beating up on two children in a park in his debut wrestling match. It's this older 40-year-old man who's now a pro wrestler who's beating up on these little kids for their tag team title. That's what I felt like I was watching when I saw Killer Kross beating up on these boys. It's like just ragdolling the shit out of them. And you're right, Derek. His personality isn't necessarily the biggest, but he's also like a psychopathic serial killer type character who's like not like Dexter Lumis by any means, but you know what I mean.
That's like different psychopathic.
Yeah, he's a psycho, and he doesn't need to show a lot of emotion. But I definitely know that Kevin has quite a bit because I had him on a podcast I used to do, and as Neo has shown you in that footage, tremendously entertaining, or can be, and great in the ring. I don't know why they have him so one note on this show. He is 100% one note.
They got him on character development. That's the thing. Like, they have him set on, like, you know what, this is your character. You're going to what is it called? You're going to be a method character. Like, this is going to be you day in and day out.
But it's like having, with all the entrance and everything, I think that's the issue. The entrance and her there and everything is so big. And then he's just a ordinary wrestler who doesn't get really much personality. You're like, okay, that's a lot of sizzle and not a lot of steak.
It's grandiose. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, going back to somebody that we all like, was kind of like with Finn Balor when they were making Finn Balor's entrance, like this big deal, instead of it just making it a special thing where he was doing it at certain pay-per-views. They were doing it on every episode of NXT at one point. It just felt like, all right, I've seen the belts attached to his head one too many times now, and it's not special anymore. And
at least he was delivering exponentially in the ring. That's not like Killer Kross is still passable. It's the matches aren't tremendous, and the personality is not large.
I guess
I love the guy.
I guess my point is like, if you want to like somebody, then
wait, he's QAnon.
I don't. Okay. Oh no!
Shit, I don't. Fuck. I'm in a quandary, dude. Let's keep going.
Well, I'll say this.
Killer, somebody I don't know.
I'll say this though about Killer Kross. He was the worst person in that match. Like that match, that main event was the best main event of the entire week across the WWE brand. and it was the greatest match without Karrion Kross. Like anytime Karrion Kross exerted himself into the show, I'm like, oh well, that's shit. They just, kind of they knocked that spot off. They knocked this spot off, but it was a spot city, right? It was spot city, like 100%, and that's kind of like that.
It was crazy.
Like gas, pedal to the metal, gas down to the all, like 100%. Like you're just getting all these cool spots and little storytelling here with like the Cole and Cole and Kyle, right, doing their, the enemy of my enemy is my friend or whatever.
Yeah, working together momentarily.
Working together. So I mean, that was really cool stuff. But I think they made Gargano look good, but I kind of knew in the back of my mind that Gargano was going to eat that. Smart Mark Fedora on, like it was for sure he was going to eat that.
Because Gargano's the kind of guy that doesn't mind putting someone over, right?
Yeah. And
his reputation really can take a hit because he's had so many big memorable matches that people think
he loves wrestling. So he's if the story calls for him to lose, then he knows he's I gotta lose.
He's A-okay.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have creative control like some do.
Even if I think even if he did, he'd probably be like, man, I'm having the most fun right now with this shit. I don't care if I fucking lose. Well, like this gimmick right now, the way, especially, oh my god, their gear. They all had click gear. Did you guys see that picture? Oh my god, that was incredible.
Like you really had to have the fedora on tight.
Yeah. Even Candace's, they used the actual letters for 1, 2, 3 kid and kind of rearranged it so it's spelled Pixie. I was like, the graphic designer that did that is awesome. That is totally something that I would.
It's got to be the same guy that does all of his superhero Iron Man and all that other stuff, because that guy's so good at putting subtle like twists on Gargano's logo and everything and using it. But yeah, no, man, I mean, incredible.
Cool
incredible. I think that the way has kind of become face too, the way we were talking about Cameron Grimes a little bit there. I think that they've done a weird face turn where at times they've been getting cheered and I don't understand it. Their actions aren't necessarily of a face.
Mine is the women.
Like them.
Yeah, the chicks are still.
The women are
because they've got that weird angle where Candace is manipulating her, so it's hard to. Yeah. But yeah, Johnny and Austin are so funny. It's hard not to like that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like that's one of the reasons why people can't be too funny. Doesn't make money, but this is actually catching on a little bit.
I like it. So that's why you kind of have this love-hate relationship with the way, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Well, I think the big story with NXT this week is the addition of Samoa Joe.
Oh shit!
Back to the WWE.
Joe
showed up on this week's episode of NXT as the special enforcer for William Regal, who cannot fight unless provoked. And yes, my friends, he got provoked right away on the first night.
Yeah, of course. It's like, okay, don't worry, Regal. I'll just put people to sleep that need to be put to sleep.
Well, let's be honest. NXT over the last year has had a lot of nonsense going on.
Yeah, I mean, they're running roughshod, man.
Earlier than that, like when Legado del Fantasma was kidnapping each other and shit, like there's a lot of wild shit going on in that parking lot.
I love that how that is the accurate explanation of the situation when they were kidnapping each other.
This is basically what happened. I also liked how Candice LeRae told Poppy she was going to take her out to the NXT parking lot, which I found to be hilarious because it's like, yeah, that's where wild shit happens.
Everyone gets hurt out there. We still don't know what happened to who was the guy? Oh, Kenta got injured out there.
Don't hold your breath on that mystery.
I think that parking lot is probably like the most dangerous wrestler in the entire roster.
It's definitely the most dangerous location. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. It's like when they say people get shot at gunpoint. People need to stop going there. Why would anyone visit gunpoint? Terrible things happen there.
But I'm
That's a dad joke. I'm impressed with that. I like it.
Uncle joke. Uncle jokes are like dad jokes, but they make you say, "Oh, brother."
You
got a joke about dad jokes.
All right, can we shut his monitor off? He's done.
Well, I'm still here.
They had a really good thing going on now with the fact that they just like to pepper in one of their firings to be a rehiring. This is the second year they've done it in a row.
And I like how Alicia's like, well, are they going to address that he got fired? I'm like, no, this is where WWE's brilliant. They didn't even mention he got fired on TV. So it's just like he went over to NXT.
Yeah,
exactly. It's exactly what happens.
Yeah, they're so good about that shit. Like if they decide, oh, we fucked up, so smooth. Yeah, that bit was great. Joe,
Like-
Joe.
I want to say this, and this is like
Say it, man.
not a knock on us necessarily as
Whoa.
a wrestling podcast. I don't consider us to be wrestling journalists, but I kind of think wrestling journalists suck because of this. I saw so many stories about Samoa Joe coming back and being moved to NXT before this happened, that it was disappointing, you know?
Oh, you mean as far as
yeah.
spoiling the surprise? Yeah, I get that.
When I watched it in the moment, I popped. Even though, because I wasn't expecting it to be this soon, and I wasn't expecting necessarily when I heard he was back with NXT for it to be an on-screen role. I wasn't reading these articles because I wasn't choosing to know this information. This is information that I wish I wouldn't have known, because had I known it, it would have made it so much better. When we have all of these problems with pro wrestling, I feel like this is the number one problem. Not necessarily just pro wrestling journalists, but the fact that with pro wrestling, we just always want to know so bad what's going on. And then when we find out, it ruins it for us.
It ruins it.
And when we get, and I'm fucking guilty of that. I've been guilty of looking into like this John Cena rumor about him being at SummerSlam a whole bunch. And it's like, can't I just let it happen if it happens?
Dude, I'm the same way. I actually legitimately stopped watching movie trailers for this reason.
Exactly.
I want to, if I'm going to see a movie, I want to see the movie. Like if I'm at the theater and the trailer's on, I can't avoid that. But I'm not going to, if a trailer hits the internet, I don't go seek it out because I don't want to get everything spoiled for myself.
We already have websites breaking down the Black Widow trailer and showing us all this stuff that's from the trailer that's going to be in the movie. And it's like, yeah, it's in the movie. Just
they're explaining like this is probably what's going to happen and spoiling any potential enjoyment because you've expounded all these ideas that could potentially happen. Fuckers.
And they all sound awesome, but they would have been really more awesome as if the first time I heard them was when I just watched the movie and saw it unfold. You know?
They did that shit.
Well, and that's also, I think, the reason why people's disappointment level is so high with media, right? Whether it's a movie or television show or pro wrestling. They're like, oh, Samoa Joe's back. That means he's coming after the NXT title and he's going to be a full-time wrestler. And then he comes back in this role and you're let down because you knew part of the information and your brain filled in the rest of it with something that's way cooler than reality.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I don't know. That's the part about pro wrestling now that sucks, but I don't think that's ever going away. We always wanted to keep doing this.
Talking about comebacks, there was also news about Aleister Black coming back to WWE. Any speculation on that?
I think that people could see that potentially happening and him moving back to NXT the same way that, you know, that Samoa Joe did. I think that
if you were in his boots, like, would you want to do that?
Hell, do you see the way he handled his exit? Yes, he does. The way he handled his exit is like, please give me my job back. We had all this great stuff going on. I don't understand what happened. We made this cool tune. I had all these great ideas. I did some lights things, guys. I mean, come on.
I disagree with you. Like, you summed it up better than anything I could have said as far as proof wise. The way that he handled himself in that interview, the fact that he did it. I mean, I'd say that the only red flag would be that he did it on Zelina's Twitch.
And he kept doing it. Like, he kept on. People actually were, I didn't care, but people were getting annoyed with him going on, and like they were equated to him sucking Vince McMahon's dick and that he was brainwashed. And I'm like, guys, the guy Vince McMahon put him in a different tax bracket. You don't think he's gonna praise this fucking guy? Fucking A.
It's kind of like these reports that Braun Strowman is demanding 5 figures or something for
I got big chicks.
Yeah, indie wrestling appearance. And I mean, again, someone said the best thing is like, that's basically the same as him saying, I'm not taking indie bookings.
Exactly.
But if you want me to come, you're going to pay me a shit ton of money.
You cannot afford to run a show if that is one of the, I mean, if you want to just book Braun Strowman and one other guy, you might come even, but people aren't going to go to that show.
Like, it's going to be Braun Strowman doing a Royal Rumble against all the local talent, and he wins. Like, that's it. Like, that's all
definitely go over.
He's going to go like to all the 50 states in the United States, just do Royal Rumble matches with all the local talent and always win. And then he's going to be
What's your finish, kid? I'll kick out.
If I
Mine's
if I
just a
was the
big power
promoter
bomb.
booking that, I would have him come out and do the opening speech. Then he would stay in the ring while the Rumble match started, and then he would win it, and then he would close the show out. And I might even have him help with the chairs a little bit.
And have him bring a little bit of catering.
Adam sure doesn't do chairs.
Yeah, but that's a whole other thing.
I mean, speaking of like monies, did you guys hear about what happened with Federación Wrestling?
Segway King over here.
No, let's hear it.
So there's supposed to be this like really awesome pay-per-view in Mexico with like Andrade, Rush, Dragon Lee, Kenny King, La Lucha Brothers, Ty Conti, Ray Horace, Bandito, like a big ass like just lucha pay-per-view, right?
Flamita?
Yeah, Flamita was probably going to be there too.
Fuck yeah,
and they ended up not doing it because according to the media, I guess they just couldn't afford Andrade. So I guess Andrade's kind of in that, he probably has that thing in his back pocket where he just wants more money.
I wonder how
I think Lio Rush was supposed to be there too. Like Lio Rush was supposed to be there.
How does the show get even like almost scheduled? And they're like, the dude's like, did he ask for more all of a sudden? Must be what happened.
I think so, based on what I've read. Like,
you agreed to that price?
It was a logistics. Agreed? Yeah, it was like a logistics issue and a money issue. And I'm like, you're gonna bankrupt this promotion like day one? Come on now.
Well, that's the promotions problem. There's been lots of promotions I've seen in the past that I myself sit back and go, how the hell are they doing this? And of course,
come on, Mr. Commissioner. Give us
how they're doing it. They're losing money.
That's the thing. I understand now more than ever, being assistant commissioner of a wrestling promotion, exactly how difficult it is to balance this entire situation, right? That's what still amazes me that Wrestle Circus was able to last even for as long as they did.
Oh, I miss Wrestle Circus.
The shows Wrestle Circus put on, and I mean, there was a lot of things that came out afterwards that the whole thing kind of dissolved and fell apart due to finances and because the location where they were at was closing or something like that. But there was more to it. They were trying to build something like PWG-esque, maybe even bigger than that. At least with PWG, you would look at a card for like Bola and be like, oh, cool, I know half of these guys. And the other half, I've never even heard of. And that weekend, they would make such an impression on you that you would never forget those guys as long as you live.
Let's talk about the debut of Trevor Lee. That's one of the ones. Trevor Lee debuted. People legitimately chanted, "Who are you?" And by the end of the match, it was Trevor Lee.
Yeah.
Trevor Lee.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
An incredible transition in one match, right? I know for me, it was like Pete Dunne. And then I saw him and I was kind of like, this is the guy. And then by the end of the whole entire weekend, I was like, I love Pete Dunne so much. And
this guy's got a bear on his knee. He's
he's got a bear on his knee, and he had little whiskers on after the match with
he had this small boy mustache, and he was just going.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Wrestle Circus was pulling in names I knew, and the entire card was that, and it was like the top names as far as indie wrestling goes. I just literally did not know how they were doing it. I saw the size of their venue. I know a lot of their shows sold out, so it kind of made more sense. They were like PWG, but they had a bigger, nicer venue that sat more people, so they could sell more tickets.
The titles were fucking cool as hell looking.
Yeah, they look rad as hell.
Like they really had a cool presentation. Like the whole circus atmosphere and like the sideshow like all that stuff was just cool.
It was very cool. I love different promotions too. I love stuff that people that do things differently. It just goes to show it's not viable. That's the reason why when you go to your local show, like even Defy used to bring in some big names, but you could tell they balanced it out with their normal roster as well. They weren't giving you this star-studded roster from top to bottom every time they put on a show.
But to us, like the guys that they had on the show that weren't necessarily the nationwide names, they were so established with us. They were huge stars to us. So like they were smart with the way they did that.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if bringing in all of those guys you named, Neo, and then still going after someone like Andrade is even a smart move in the first place. Like,
it was a big risk roll, and you know what, they tried. I honestly had a lot of of hope for them. But the thing is, you're trying to do a fucking pay-per-view in Mexico. Mexicans don't buy pay-per-views, my guy. Sorry. Like they're probably going to buy AAA or the CMLL pay-per-views, but like a new, pay-per-view.
They don't know.
There's something they don't know that they've never seen, that's not proven. Like I think they try to get
go
off
right. They would go to the show though.
They would go to the show, absolutely.
Yeah.
They actually announced ticket sales like literally last week, and this show was supposed to be next month. And so
one of those tickets went on sale super close to when the show was.
Like I think this whole like the way they just did it all was just like shit.
It was probably one of those situations where Andrade got released and he was available. They're like, well, let's book a show around this motherfucker now.
Yeah, like, and honestly, I would hope that this thing could pick back up, but not.
Do you see pictures of him, by the way? The pictures that were dropped like a couple days ago that came out, or I think it was today or yesterday. The dude has been spending the entire time in the gym. He lives fucking jacked.
He lives in the gym, dude.
Like even more than like WWE. It's ridiculous.
See, this is supposed to be the card, by the way. It was supposed to be like, just VIP, like this small little, like the Cupo Limitado. That means very limited venue, and these are all in pesos, mind you. But yeah, like there's Bandito, Penta. Oh, there's
Taven.
What's his name? Yeah, Taven. There's Los Ingobernables, Ty Conti.
Mecha Wolf, or who's that? I don't know.
That's Black Taurus.
Oh, Black Taurus.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a mask on no more.
No, he was like hiding in the back.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't understand how he's so much more expensive than like Penta.
Well, Penta's probably doing it for the
probably
culture,
just it's because they're fresh out of the WWE thing, man.
Yeah, because he had a lot of clout, really, just to kind of do it, and yeah, man, like they had a lot of names on these posters, and
Shane Taylor,
PJ Black, is in here. Yeah, man, Ray Phoenix, you name it. And I thought Phoenix was injured, but who knows,
It's kind of funny that Rush is in front and that he's next to him.
Yeah, that's kind of smarky.
Look at this fucker. Look at this fucker.
Good.
Oh yeah,
Lord.
He had a match with Hijo del Santo, man, and they went off. It was so good.
So, well, in that same vein, we actually have some guys who have recently retired from the wrestling business. You brought up Lio Rush. He's a guy that was kind of surprising. We lost Faye Jackson this year, somebody who I personally adore and has been one of my favorites. And just today, we received word that ACH has now retired from professional wrestling. So I have, again, a lot of good memories connected to Bola. And it's because it's probably every time I go, the most fun wrestling show I've ever been to. Don't get me wrong. It's like anything that with time, it kind of
diminishes a little bit.
It diminishes a little bit, but it's still just the best weekend ever for me as a pro wrestling fan, more so than WrestleMania or anything. I'll say this, Josh and I had a couple of fun. We used to take a weekend trip at some point in the middle of the summer, right around this time of the year, to just some wrestling show. One time we went to Mystery Vortex and had just an absolute blast. Another time we went to Las Vegas for Ring of Honor. So, I mean, those shows were fun, but still nothing compares to PWG weekend. And for me, I got so addicted because of that first weekend that I told you guys about. It's like, it's crazy because the talent level was so high and it was just this array of people that I had no idea who they were. I fell in love with Candace because she gave me a big old hug when, you're doing the walk around meeting wrestlers thing before the show started. I mean, right away, when Josh and I walked into PWG for the very first time, the first people we were greeted by is Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. And they literally went, like, as we walked in, hey, like that to us. And we were like, hey,
old friends.
And we all took a picture together and shit. And fucking we're hugging Adam Cole and fucking the Bucks. I didn't even know who fucking Adam Cole was at the time. Like,
rest in peace, Adam Cole.
But all that being said, that particular weekend, I was introduced to ACH. ACH had his first round match against Kenny Omega. And in this match, I don't even know if it was a first round match. It might have been the second round match. I know it was on night 2. So sometimes I think those are still first round matches, right? On night 2.
Indeed.
Okay. So what had happened was there was this Mark walking around, great guy, really fun.
Oh my gosh, yes, thank you. Such a cool guy.
Walking around, not you, but you know what I'm talking about. This guy wearing a full-on, real deal, Stone Cold Steve Austin leather vest. No shirt.
Post Malone.
Tall guy.
Ponytail.
Wearing a big old Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Gregarious, super nice. Like make sure you get a picture. He was the nicest dude.
He was so great. He's been at several PWG shows since then. I've seen him several times, but just this stood out obviously because he came wearing this vest.
Yes.
And in the middle of the beginning, in the beginning of their match,
toward the end of the beginning of the middle of the match here,
feeling each other out, ACH decides to go to this man for his vest to give him like strength against Kenny Omega and his chainsaw arm at the time. By the way, this is when Kenny Omega was still heavily a comedy kind of wrestler.
Yes.
And so ACH puts on this vest and he begins doing Stone Cold Steve Austin's moveset in the ring.
All the mannerisms too. Everything.
All the mannerisms. He got someone's beer in a pitcher and went up on the turnbuckle and chugged it. But my favorite part about this was after he laid a whooping to Kenny Omega for a little bit, Kenny Omega countered by adopting The Rock's moveset.
Yes.
So that
is so incredible, dude.
It became.
I really hope it was all organic. I really hope it was.
Versus Kenny The Rock Omega. And it was just incredible. And I mean, none of this stuff was stuff they planned. They just called this on the fly.
I
they
hope so.
made this move to do this. I mean, but yeah, you're right. There is the possibility that ACH could have been like, I see that motherfucker in the Stone Cold vest. If I get that opportunity, I am coming at him. Here it is right there.
Yeah, here it is.
Don't worry, there's no sound, so we're not gonna get flagged for it.
Yeah. Stomped a mud hole in his ass. And I'm over here on the right side, by the way. I'm over there, and I am losing my mind right now.
Oh, best friend.
Yeah, I'm jumping back there.
That is rad.
And there's the guy right there without his shirt on, the vest.
Yeah. And
you see the guy outside right there. He's freaking the fuck out like he's doing all that with his vest.
Right there. So we started chanting Stone Cold ACH, Stone Cold ACH, Stone Cold ACH. And like it's so crazy, but it was the greatest way to introduce like somebody. Here he goes. He's going for the rock bottom. It was the greatest way to introduce somebody in my life. Like this wrestling.
Oh, even doing the rock punches.
Yeah, he's doing the rock style slap punches.
Yeah.
Oh God, you're right, Derek. I forgot how amazing this whole moment was.
I mean, ACH and Kenny Omega were forever in my heart after this moment. I mean,
and the stuttering nail.
Look at this pop. Look at everybody. We fucking couldn't believe this shit because again, to Justin, you fucker.
Oh yeah,
dude.
That was the best part
of though. Everybody's just like
the whole Stone Cold and
the
Rock moves. They can't even get the fetish with that stuff.
See, that's the thing, Neo, is like I heard people when we were there, because of course, being newbies, we brought up why the fuck is it in this hot ass, tiny ass building? Like they sold out. Here he goes up on the turnbuckle with somebody's beer. We questioned why is it that this isn't a bigger venue? And we had several people say they had tried to put it in a different venue and it just never was the same. It never had the same vibe as this particular building. And I mean, having been in there, I get it. Having been in there and in the Globe, like the Globe is great. The air conditioning is so nice. A little bit of elbow room and shit and be able to actually run with your chair for your life instead of like sometimes when we ran for our lives, when someone was doing a tope outside, we didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
everybody else had already picked up their chairs and they were moved, and then basically, if you're like the first 2 rows, you're just kind of screwed.
You're dead. You're dead.
I'm fucking.
And hope for the
I'm
best.
getting hella nostalgic, man. I fucking miss that building.
That building
met my homies there. Like seriously, my best friends I met there. You, Derek, Chris, like all my best friends I met at PWG. It's a very, very special place, especially at the Legion.
It's because it's like summer camp, and I've said this before, but if you've gone and you stayed in the Howard Johnson and you hung out and ate tacos at the street taco place or went to Denny's afterwards,
got free cookies in the morning when they was warm.
That's right.
Joe.
Or fucking make yourself some waffles and they're little tiny. That shit was OG. But it's the, it was kind of why the whole Mayor of Reseda thing got born, right? Brian went after, we had already gone, and he saw me walking around shaking hands and hugging people and shit, and that's where the whole name was born from. It's because that vibe was completely different than anything else. It got to be a little toxic too. You had new people that were very mad about the established fan base of PWG fans that couldn't really fucking relinquish their
they didn't appreciate that somehow we had a place in line even though we weren't there the whole time, which I get.
Hey, but you know what, newbies like me could benefit from that privilege, because I would I'm with them.
Yeah, dude, showing the new people the ropes. Like, it's like, all right, we're chilling here for a while. You need water? Let's hit the CVS. So let's grab waters for a lot of people.
Yeah, and make friends with everybody.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, I know we've kind of drifted off topic. But ACH definitely was
a huge part of PWG. Like, he was at my first show there. Like, I fell in love with this guy. I ended up working a lot with him on art, like, and everything. The way his career fell apart for a little bit, and then he got to come back on his own terms. Was rad, and now he's leaving on his own terms, which is rad, but really sad because he's a tremendous talent and he's really young.
I hate to say this because I love pro wrestling, but being around the business, being around it in the capacity that I am, being a fan of it the way I am, and covering it the way we have, I don't know why more people don't quit at the age that ACH is. I don't know why more people don't get fed up with this business and how demanding it can be. I don't understand, because it is such a dangerous business. It's such an ungrateful business, like you have to do all of this stuff to constantly stay in people's minds and to stay relevant, all this at all different times. Pro wrestling lets people into your lives more than a lot of people want to. He seemed like a private guy, and he tried to share his thoughts, and when they did, they got misinterpreted, which I'm sure made him even want to share his thoughts even less. You know what I mean? Like, they got kind of swirled around and everything. I think he is a guy that was like all of us. I think he was a big fan. I think he got to live his dream, and I think at the end of the day, got a little disenchanted with the machine.
The system.
Once he realized,
understandably so.
Because he was a knockout in New Japan, and obviously in PWG,
ROH,
AAW, ROH, you name it. He's always been loved. It's just whenever the WWE stink got on him, it's kind of when everything just went downhill, unfortunately. But yeah, I just hope that Lio, Faye, ACH, whatever they're doing, I just hope they find joy in what they're doing. And I honestly hope we see them down the road. Like, let's not forget about them per se, but let's have them come back to us, when it's their time.
Yeah, we know how wrestling retirements can be.
Yeah,
that's it.
Never say never.
I think the thing, like with Faye, is you get injured significantly enough, and you have to question at one point, what the fuck am I doing anymore?
Yeah.
Like, is this worth this for me to be a person that's going to have like serious health issues, whether it's your arms, and like, it's a fucking demanding business. I get it, and I hope to see all of them again. I think it hurts when it's like ACH and you saw his career go down the path that it went down, right? Like, his career got ruined in a very short amount of time with WWE over things that, to be honest, he had every right to really be angry about.
Yep.
I think that when we talk about like Aleister Black, that's probably people's anger and frustration with him, is he was too complacent with what happened to him. People wanted to see a little bit more fire out of him. They wanted to see him be a little bit angry, maybe not disrespectful, but be mad that you got let go.
Well, people wanted some shit talking. People wanted him.
That's what they
want.
want.
Vile, man.
You're right. And at the end of the day, he was too professional to give it to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I applaud him for that. And I think for that exact reason, we'll probably see him back in WWE not too long from now. Not to say I hope to see ACH in WWE, but I hope to see him back in professional wrestling. I hope this is all just a time off kind of thing. And I mean, for me personally, this is the best way to do it, because if you do it this way, we believe you, and we believe it's forever. And then you can just pop up whenever you want to. And it's going to be a huge, not only a surprise, but like a relief to see someone like him again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, let's do winners of the week and wrap this thing up. Beek, I'll start with you. Who you got for a winner of the week?
I'm gonna go with the NXT title holders who kept their titles. So that's a pretty big win for me. What do you think about that?
I like it. it.
So Bronson and MSK.
All right. I was gonna say, do you include Cross in there or not?
I guess so, but no, I meant specifically MSK and my big boy Bronson Reed.
My big boy Bronson Reed. I love Bronson Reed. Another guy that I discovered because PWG, and again, love to watch him flourish the way that he's flourishing in WWE. Hey man, I love the big boys. We need more of them. You know, it's kind of like this criticism towards Piper Niven that people had. I loved the spot, to be honest, on Raw. I loved the whole Eva thing. I loved her not wrestling and bringing in Piper.
And announcing herself the winner.
Yeah, we know who they were. We know who she is. Apparently, nobody on the main roster knew who she was. However, the commentators are like, "Who is this person?" Like, don't you have a fact sheet?
I mean,
don't you have somebody in your ear? I mean,
weren't they just screaming Babatunde's name like not too long ago, and then all of a sudden now they had to act like he's Commander Aziz? Come on.
I think they're playing dev like, we don't know what we're actually gonna call her.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the name that was rumored they're gonna call her?
Oh, it's awful.
Dewdrop. What?
No.
Why?
I don't like it.
I have my own issues with Piper Niven for some shit she tweeted out, but yeah, I hope they don't just make her. I'll forget that. As far as wrestling careers, I hope they just don't humiliate her with this Eva Marie thing. I hope they actually get her over with it and not just make her the chubby girl that is hanging out with the hot girl and has to look like a fucking clown like Bertha Faye, because that's fucked.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen this angle already too many times, so we'll see.
She already had a little bit of a Bertha Faye haircut thing going on, didn't she?
Yep.
Anyway, Neo, I'll move on to you, sir. Your winner of the week.
My winner of the week. I'll be quick. Shingo Takagi.
No, it can't be him again.
Oh no!
You're gonna make monkey noises the whole time. All right, do your thing.
He's the third IWGP champion. So congrats to Shingo Takagi. Had a amazing bout at Dominion with Kazuchika Okada. I would watch it again. Definitely a must watch in my opinion.
Are they strapping him to the rocket?
To the moon.
I think they do. It's reversed. They strap the rocket to the individual.
No, in this case, are they strapping him to the rocket as well?
So.
All right, your show, bro.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's not. It's not my show. It's their show. It's the listener show.
Oh, man, I like that.
And viewer.
What's your winner of the week, D-Rock?
I'm gonna give my winner of the week to Cameron Grimes because I felt like they really did a good job of transitioning his character. Yep. I mean what I say. I mean, we talked about Aleister Black. We talked about this. It's not really a joke. I legitimately wanted a kind of a rivalry between Aleister Black and Undertaker to exist, where Aleister Black retired him again or something. Or even if it was in this capacity is even better than the capacity I was thinking, where it's just Undertaker maybe fucking with Aleister Black and putting him through a series of trials until he was just like, I'm your Dark Lord kind of deal, right? But
Pentagon and Vampiro thing, but with these two, I'm all for it, man. Who cares? But yeah, it's awesome.
But the thing, it really worked out with DiBiase.
Yeah.
I thought some of these sketches and stuff were funny, but kind of dumb. And
with Ted teasing Cameron.
I thought it was just
El gato.
I thought it was just $1 million, man kind of thing with him being rich and all of that. I didn't really know it was going to transition the way it did. I thought they did an excellent job with it. I thought they made a real match. I popped for the $1 million belt when they said they were going to have that hanging from a ladder or hanging from the roof. And
were you nervous the way that he was holding it? Like he kept tilting it?
Because of the way that it was in that big case too.
Yeah, it was not strapped down. It was just resting on that thing.
Right. And they weren't really fucking around with having the belt just hanging on a thing. You notice that? Like they could have just had the belt strapped to a hook, right? No, they were not. That belt is not wearable, by the way. You only put it on your shoulder. That's the only way you can wear it.
That's still the title that I want.
That $1 million belt.
Yeah, if you guys ever want to gift me something, gift me.
I got one over there, but it's plastic and built for a child.
You guys ever want something? I want the smoking skull belt. So there,
we're all gonna buy each other belts one day. Yeah. It'll be beautiful. When our significant others get mad, it's like it was a gift.
It was a gift.
What do you want from me?
Even though we bought one for the other person.
I got one too in return.
It's brilliant, you guys. It's brilliant.
Friends. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to episode 444 of the Steel Cage podcast. You can get us all on the Twitter. We're on the Twitter. You can get Beek at James Vanderbeek. That's JIMS Vanderbeek. You can get Neo at DNeoX with an ECKS at the end. You can get me at Cap_caveman with a K. But of course, all roads lead to at the Steel Cage. Send us an email. We'll mimic the thing about getting it. We'll do the bit about Josh being here, and then we won't ever read it. But no, he does pass it along to us. If you have a question for any of us, if you have a demand for Uncle Beek, for what kind of weed you want to see him smoke, or what kind of hazardous thing you want to see him adjust,
what do you know about my cool shirts?
Check out his cool shirt. Tell him how awesome it is. My shirt has Kevin Nash on it, by the way, and I think it's pretty big. And
I've got the fake Kevin Nash on here. Right. Well, fake Diesel, technically.
Fake Diesel.
We called each other. But of course, you can send us that at podcast@thesteelcage.com and check out our shops. We have a couple of them. Thesteelcageshop.com. We have some shirts. They're the King of Soft Style. They're on prowrestlingtees.com. So look out for their deals if you ever want to snag one of those. And also Uncle Beek's store at pentagonzo.com, where you can get all of his beautiful designs, some that make sense, some that don't. Right? That covers it. The biggest thing is we have decided to bring back the Steel Cage Patreon. Previously, we were just charging you guys $1 for it, and you could have access to the entire past library, and that is not going away. For $1, you can still access the Steel Cage entire library. Josh will painstakingly put together a list of episodes you should listen to and send them over to you. But with that being said, for our new tier, the limited time $4 you can get our new podcast show that we're doing on Saturday mornings that we haven't named yet.
Unit.
Yeah, it's called Breakfast of the Absolute Unit.
I thought just Absolute
Units.
Oh, there you go.
Absolute Units.
Yes.
All right.
So we get high and we watch wrestling. That's what it's about. It sounds basic. I know we're stealing someone else's concept, but hey, you can't copyright smoking weed and watching wrestling. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, Vince McMahon.
So we are starting out by watching Wrestling Society X, a cult classic pro wrestling show, if you will, from the MTV days of everybody getting in on pro wrestling in the late 90s. So join us, check that out. Again, it's 420. We appreciate your support. A big thing about the Patreon is it just kind of helps us keep the lights on here for the Steel Cage. This website and this show is a labor of love. We do not make very much money off of it, if you can even call it making money off of it. It's definitely... No, I know.
You got paid?
Who's been sending you checks? Because if you're going to say you're getting money, I'm going to start asking questions that I don't want to ask, Beek, to be honest. But again, check out our shows on the network. I know I keep promising dates is coming back. I have like 2 in the can. They're like a month old. I'll put them out. I promise. I'm just lazy and sick. We also have Unfunny Nerd Tangent doing their thing. And we have a new episode of the Aussie Top 3 as well. So check out all the shows. Check out the Patreon. We appreciate your guys' support. And thank you so much for listening to this show and every show that we're a part of. Thank you for checking out episode 444 of the Steel Cage Podcast. And remember, kids, I'm sick.
It's cold season, y'all.